folks that are masked, that they're not sure if they're law enforcement, that they may be kidnapping people. Like, we have had those reports. I want to be clear to the community. The community should know that if you see something like that, that is legitimate, that you don't know if someone is law enforcement, you should call 911 and you should.
This is total bull. Do not, I repeat, if you're in law enforcement right now and you are in the Minneapolis area, if you're in law enforcement and you're in any of our 50 states, you do not want to pick a fight with the federal government. The federal government will go further than your local municipality ever will. I've been seeing a huge uptick in body cam footage of people that are caught shoplifting, stealing, driving drunk, people committing all types of crimes. For some reason, they have this weird idea that if they just call 911 on the police that are pulling them over and arresting them, then they could get out of trouble. I was wondering, where in the hell does this idiotic idea come from? Now I'm starting to understand. This man is a fool. He's instructing you to throw away your career in law enforcement behind some nonsensical ideological BS. These people want to keep their voter rolls full of illegals and immigrants because those are the people that keep them in power. They understood that if it was up to the votes that belong to organic, natural Americans who are from this country, they would not be in power. They wouldn't be in office. They wouldn't stand a chance. That's why they want to bring in illegals. They want to get rid of voter ID, etc. If you think about it, say ICE shows up and they're wearing masks, because remember, ICE agents are like the National Guard. They're from these communities. They're not coming from other states. ICE agents have families and kids. We don't need them being doxxed, okay? Because there's a lot of left-wing extremists. There's a lot of crazy people out there. So they do need to cover their identities because doxing is a real thing. And because of the internet, you can spread information like someone's addresses around easily. So they're wearing masks. If you call the police and the police show up, there could be an incident. So what these people are hoping is that if you call the police are there, ICE is there, and then throughout all the confusion, you can kind of just sneak and run away. That's not going to be the case. But what if one of these ideological officers shows up? He's armed. Our federal agents are armed. What does that mean can happen next? Who wins? Who has authority? If two people are telling a judge, or two people pull up and they tell the police, arrest this man, the other person says, arrest this man, well, then who do you arrest? And we're coming down to that point. If you don't understand that this is already a civil strife, then you're behind and you're living in a world of normal biases. And that's a problem. You're way behind. Like I said in that movie, when he asked, okay, you're an American, but what kind of American are you? Those are the types of questions that are start coming up, because now even the citizens, there's going to be a rift, a divide. And now those who are trying to protect illegals, it's like they're trying to draft law enforcement into their ranks. Now, remember, only a couple of weeks ago, we had senators putting up illegal billboards around the country, and they made a video that went viral encouraging people in the military to ignore illegal orders. What this sheriff is doing, Sheriff Brian O'Hara, this is the illegal orders you need to ignore. Do not follow what this guy is saying to do. You will be throwing away your life and your career for a joke. It's a pipe dream. There will never be a time anymore where we're just going to suspend the laws of this country, but yet we think we still have a country. That's not going to be the case. The laws must be obeyed. They must be followed, and they must be applied equally to everyone who lives within our borders. No one can be exempt. So we just had a big fuss where everybody's making a big deal about these people saying, oh yeah, if Trump gives you some illegal orders, don't follow them. but no one's saying anything to this guy. What they're doing is they're trying to see how many loyalties, how many people with loyalty to the left are still in the ranks. The way people don't understand this, but it comes down to if you're gay or if you're not. A lot of this stuff comes down through sexuality, and the sexuality stuff, it overshadows race, and that's like number one of the biggest things. When they're asking, and if you look at those senators, look at their two lesbian women. The governor in Oregon, she's a lesbian woman. The police chief in New Orleans, she's a lesbian woman. A lot of these people, and even the men, they've had scandals with children and other men before. So you have these gay people that are in our in office in different states, and now they're trying to find out how many people are still loyal to them in the military. Because remember, Hegseth and Trump, they purged the gay and the trans and all those different people that were in the military. Remember, they purged them out first thing as soon as they got in. They understood where the threat was. The few people that they didn't catch when Charlie Kirk was assassinated, that they poked their head up and were celebrating, they were all gay people. Go look at them. Go look at them. Even the guy they kicked out of the Secret Service, he was also gay. They poked their heads out and they celebrated Kirk. That was a way of finding out who these people are so you can purge them. Right now, they don't know how many people are still loyal to them that are in the military. And I guess they're planning on making their move soon. I don't know what they're going to do, but this right here is going to be a problem. If ICE is showing up and and right now they said there's hundreds of agents on their way to Minneapolis. When they get there, if these people start calling 911, if the police do not immediately show up and apologize to the agents for being there and immediately instruct citizens to stop calling 911 when law enforcement is there doing their job, if they don't do that, then there's going to be a clash. And then it's a bad look. When law enforcement has to discipline other law enforcement, it's a problem. But as of right now, this guy stuck his head out the furthest. He's the tip of the spear. He needs to be removed immediately. Even him encouraging his subordinate officers underneath him to go against our federal agents and to humor people calling on one. Well, we've had kidnapping. Shut the hell up. This isn't Mexico City. It's fucking Minneapolis. We don't have a huge problem with people wanting to kidnap Africans. Well, for what? What are you going to get from that? What are you going to get from a Somalian? That's not the highest people on the totem pole that you might want to kidnap. The hell's what, bro? But to pretend that they are, it's ridiculous. They want there to be a gunfight. They want someone to die so they can get on the internet and cry and say, look what Trump's doing. He's starting a war. Trump's getting people killed, blah, blah, blah. It's all going to be nonsense. But they want an incident. The show must go on regardless. We cannot waver. We cannot falter. We cannot let them shame us into submission. We can't be afraid to do what must be done to achieve the mission. These people are here illegally. They hate the country, and they are a weak link in our chain of security. They've been privately funding terrorist groups in their home country. They're going to have to return. The locals in that state are tired of it. The federal government's tired of it. The country, we must address this issue also. Too many of them have come over here using fraud. Those applications must be rejected. Their temporary status has been revoked. They have to go. So you throwing a few of your officers in harm's way in an attempt to stop what's going to happen is futile and is pointless.
Provide as much information as possible, because let's not forget, we very recently had tragedy in this state by someone who was purporting to be law enforcement. So please, let's be clear. That's something everyone should report, and that we will immediately respond to, and we will document, whether it's somebody's not sure if there's a kidnapping happening, somebody's not sure if that there's law enforcement present or not. And that's something else, that's additional policy requirements that we are implementing, that we will document and report these types of things anytime that we hear it, and reminding our officers of their duty to intervene.
If your officers want to show up and document and report, do that, but do not intervene. Do not obstruct. Do not try to stop do not try to stop ICE agents from apprehending people and arresting them. Do not get in the way, because if your officers do and something happens, you're responsible, because you're the one that told them to get in the way. You're the ones that need to explain to their family members what happened to them, and you're going to have to face those charges. Now, I understand currently the way it works in the United States, it's 50 states under one federal umbrella, but pretty much every state is its own state, and the governor is the president. But over the Fed is a super president, and that's who the president of the United States is. Do you think your president of your state or your governor is going to be able to protect you from the federal agents that are going to arrest you when you get other police officers or agents killed? You're highly mistaken. We are actually going to get strong about this. We have been weak for so long. Those days are over. For this Sheriff O'Hara to get on here and make a video encouraging law enforcement to intervene against other law enforcement when it comes to arresting. What if it's a drug dealer, and the DEA, they're wearing masks and they kick the door in and they arrest them, and the drug dealers call 911 and they're in Minneapolis? Are your police going to show up and try to get into a gun battle with the federal agents who are arresting drug dealers too? Or is this drug dealing Americans, or is this only for Somalians? Where's the cutoff? Because as of now, it seems like you're only enforcing, or basically trying to block the enforcement of certain laws for certain people. Do you just want all laws to be suspended in Minneapolis? And basically anytime, okay, say I'm robbing a bank and the police show up to stop me. Should I call 911? Are you guys going to show up and stop the other officers from arresting me because they could be kidnapping me? Well, what are you doing? None of this is making any sense whatsoever. If you're an officer and you're listening to this guy, your career is pretty much over. But then again, this is Minneapolis. This is where George Floyd happened. So they replaced most of the patriotic white male officers, the straight white men. They've replaced them with black and Somali and immigrant officers who do not care about the Constitution. They don't care about the rule of law, and they're ideologues. That's why the crime is so bad in these places. They're not there to stop crime. They're there to stop federal law enforcement from enforcing the laws. They're not there for community safety. That's why those communities are so dangerous. We're already in a civil strife. We're already pretty much in, 20 years from now, we'll look back on today and they might say the Civil War started a year ago. We're already here. It could have started a few years ago when they had Chaz in Seattle, or the autonomous zone down in Atlanta. The fact that people are setting up areas where saying cops can't go within the country, that's already a sign that there's a breakdown, and we're not in Kansas anymore. This is a problem. And if law enforcement shows up to try to stop other law enforcement, well, now we have a really, really big problem. And now, instead of focusing on removing the immigrants, we're going to be focused on fighting one another. And that's going to literally slow down the progress, and it's just going to create unnecessary delays and possibly the loss of life. If this guy is the tip of the spear who's telling people to break the law and go against law enforcement, he must be removed. He should be arrested. An example must be made of him immediately, regardless of the consequences. Yeah, there's going to be some turmoil, but it's better than what's going to happen if there's a gunfight between local Minneapolis police and ICE and federal agents. We don't need that to happen, but I fear it's eventually going to happen regardless. And, this video is not going to mean anything. That time is coming. I guess we're going to find out.
So if there is anything that is, a violation of someone's human rights or civil rights, excessive force or anything like that, they absolutely have a duty to intervene as police officers.
Your ability to live in this country without permission is not a civil right, and it's not a human right. If you use fraud to become a citizen or to get your paperwork pushed through, if you had to marry your brother to get citizenship to live here, then you are a criminal and you will be removed. none of this, there's no such thing as a human right or a, what did he say? A human right or a whatever. Those are not guaranteed rights that the country owes you. That is not a civil right for you to be here. There's 190 other countries for you to go choose from. You do not have a right to just go and be wherever you want to. There are laws and there's procedures that must be obeyed. You cannot bend and break the law to become a citizen and think you can just go on about your merry way. That's not how it's going to work. This cop right here just basically put his career on the line, and he's hoping that that his side is going to win in the end. But he should know better than that. All the groveling and begging, once he's held accountable, is not going to matter. He wants to go against our president. He wants to go against our military. He wants to go against our law enforcement and hoping his small little police department full of people that are not even, I mean, remember, that's where they found the illegal that had a gun that was working for the police, was in Minneapolis. So no, he is a bad example. Don't listen to him. You're not going to win. We got over 3 years left of Trump being in office, and we are making so much progress. There's no way we're being stopped or going back. This community has to absolutely be removed from Minneapolis. They have to be shipped back home. They think that we're weak. They think that we're soft, and they think that we're dumb. And we know this because they've literally told us that that's what they think about us. Ilhan Omar says she's not afraid. Well, then we'll see if she gets back to her home country once she's sent back, if they're begging to come back here, because if you're not afraid, then you should be able to keep that same strength and get your own homeland together. You're wasting way too much time over here. And people keep telling me that the immigrants are what made this country great. Maybe we had a monopoly on immigration for too long. Maybe it's time for us to spread the wealth. So that's what we're doing. We're doing mercy for the world by sending the immigrants all over the world. That way they can make all these other countries great too. We had a monopoly. Now it's time for us to spread the wealth. Like and subscribe, share the video, put me in the algorithm. I'm going to go through the comments and make some replies. Remember, America.
I've been needing to find a new apartment, which has not been easy with credit as bad as mine. Luckily, I found cosigning.com. They connected me with a cosigner who helped me get my dream apartment for me and my dog. I just paid a small fee and was able to move in fast. Get the cosigner you need for the apartment you want. Check out cosigning.com today.